Today on General Hospital, Isaiah and Portia's romantic plans are dashed. Nina gives Jacinda a warning, and Michael and Chase clash over Willow again. Britt returns to her apartment to find Jason inside looking at her meds, and she's pissed. Jason has a lot of questions and knows from contacts there are no drugs on the market that can put Huntington's in remission as she is in. He suspects she's in just as deep as she was at the Five Poppies, that Dalton and Sidwell are somehow involved, and it all ties to her supply of this wonder drug. Jason wants to help her and has a former intelligence friend who wants a sample of her meds to reverse engineer them, which will free her from her supplier. He says this could help millions with Huntington's. Britt says she can't do this. Jason says he's always accepted her for who she is, a doctor who helps people. Someone who tried to shield her mother from watching her deteriorate, and someone who cares about Rocco, Nathan, and Brad. He says she is so much more than she gives herself credit for. At the hospital, Portia is in bed being monitored when Isaiah checks on her. She's feeling better and is on N4. Dr. Navarro confirms she's tired and dehydrated, and she'll be released tomorrow for a few days bed rest. He asks her to spend those days with him at his cabin. She says that sounds like a dream. Suddenly, Trina walks in and assumes she's interrupting an exam. Portia says Dr. Gannon was going over her treatment options. Isaiah leaves them, and Trina asks her mom when she was going to tell her about the baby. Portia asks how she found out, and Trina admits she heard Stella and Marshall talking about it at Thanksgiving. Portia explains that she planned to tell no one until her first trimester was over. But her father found out, and she had to tell him. Trina asks if this changes anything for her parents, but Portia says she and her father still have other issues. Trina knows it might not matter if her dad is in jail for shooting Drew. Trina explains she found out when she got a call from her dad's lawyer, and she went to see him in jail, where Jordan showed up. Trina is sorry for saying the J word. Her mom doesn't need that stress. Portia only wants her daughter to focus on school, herself, and Kai, and not worry about her parents. Trina knows one thing. This baby will be lucky to have her mom and dad as parents. Christina brings home food from Bobby's for her mom and asks how work is going. Alexis says the charges against Willow may be dropped, but this could turn into a disaster for them if the case against Willow falls apart. Drew may not hold up his end of the deal and let them keep seeing Scout, because technically, she didn't win Willow's case. Christina is worried about both Scout and Michael. This could all work in Willow's favor when it comes to the kids' custody, and she fears what Michael might do. In the PCPD holding cells, Drew tells Curtis that they both know he shot him, but Curtis isn't the one Drew wants to see go down for the crime. Curtis says he didn't shoot him, but if he goes down for it, Drew will go down with him. Curtis says he'll have to testify to a motive, that Drew blackmailed his wife and used his congressional power to go after his Aunt Stella. In the interrogation room, Nathan and Drew are stunned by what they saw on the traffic cam footage. Dante asks an officer to pull a statement that contradicts some new evidence. He asks for Willow's statement. Turner comes in to speak with Dante and Nathan, and the cops explain that their new evidence doesn't point to Curtis, but to Willow. Willow is driving down Drew's street at the time he was shot, seen both before and after the shooting occurred on the cameras. Turner says this contradicts Willow's statement. Dante says, with this new information, who does she want to go after, Willow or Curtis? Turner wants them to keep following up on this evidence on Willow, as they'll be proceeding with her trial after all. Then Turner calls Alexis at home to let her know the charges against Willow aren't being dropped. She discloses that new evidence has been found, which will be in her inbox shortly. Turner then tells Nathan and Dante to drop the charges against Curtis and to keep the Selena Wood evidence in their pocket for a later time if needed. She has to go to the judge to get more camera warrants for private citizens' homes and businesses in the area, and Dante steps out to start the paperwork to release Curtis. In her office, Nina tells the barely dressed Michael and Jacinda they must be out of their damn minds. Michael asks for privacy, and Nina says, please finish having sex in my office. She steps out so they can dress and later threatens to tell HR about this. But Michael says he alerted them about their relationship the minute Jacinda began working here. Nina says HR might be okay with this, but family court won't be. Nina gloats to Michael that Willow is innocent and the PCPD has a new suspect. She says she and Drew will make sure Willow wins visitation and eventually custody of the kids. Leaving Michael with his sex worker, Michael eventually leaves, and Nina tells Jacinda that all these dresses need to be steamed and the red dress she had on has to go to the cleaners. She also tells Jacinda she knows she's Team Michael, but if she wants a new start at life, this is the place to be. She is the top of the food chain and controls all of this. As Nina scrubs her office, Nathan calls his sister and says she needs to come to the station because something has happened and he needs her there. Before she leaves, Nina reminds Jacinda that Michael will get rid of her as soon as he gets what he wants, which changes like the weather with him. Nina says Jacinda never knows when she might find herself alone and needing a friend. Back at the station, Dante finds Drew with Curtis in lockup. He tells Curtis he has good news for him and bad news for Drew. Chase sneaks Willow onto the Quartermain grounds in the kitchen. She tells him the charges against her are going to be dropped and asks if he can please help her see her kids. That's when Brooklyn walks in and says Willow needs to leave now. Willow tells Brooklyn that she came to tell Chase the charges against her are about to be dropped. She will never forget how great Chase has been to her, and right now, she wants to see her kids. Brooklyn notes that Willow is asking her husband to break a court order and risk his job, which is a lousy way to repay him for being a friend. Willow is sorry and cries that it's hard being away from her kids. However, she never should have put them in this position, and she says she'll go. She asks them not to say anything about today, as she didn't see the kids, so no harm done. She then sneaks off. Alone, Brooklyn blasts Chase for letting Willow take advantage of him. Chase says he wasn't going to let her see the kids, but he believes in her, and she is a good person. Brooklyn sympathizes with Willow, but he needs to step back and let Willow's own poor choices play out. Chase knows it would have been awful if Michael had seen Willow come in here. That's when Michael arrives and says, yeah, it would, Brooke. Lynn and Chase explain that Willow came to share news of the charges against her being dropped, and they convinced her to leave before the kids saw her. Michael wants them to sign statements that Willow was here and disobeyed the judge, but Chase refuses. Across town, Willow shows up at Alexis' place, hoping her lawyer has good news. A livid Alexis wants to know why Willow has been lying to the police and to her. She can't defend Willow if she's not honest with her. Back at the hospital, Curtis arrives, having heard about Portia, and asks Isaiah where his wife is. Isaiah says she is resting, but cannot have any stress. He directs Curtis to Portia's room. Curtis walks into Portia's room, and Trina is thrilled to see her dad is out of jail. Curtis asks if the baby is okay, and Portia says they are both okay. Curtis assures them all that everything will be fine now. At the hospital, Isaiah looks in on Portia and hears Trina and Curtis suggest to the doctor that she come home too. Rest. She's been at the Metro Court so they can take care of her. Isaiah nods to Portia, and she smiles at Trina and Curtis. She accepts the offer. Ethics. Chase tells Michael that he will have to subpoena him because he is not giving a statement or coming between a mother and her kids. Michael and Chase get in each other's faces, and Brooklyn steps in to calm them down. At the PCPD, Nathan tells Nina that Willow has been lying, and there is new evidence placing her daughter near Drew's house the night he was shot. The charges against Curtis have been dropped, and Willow's trial is moving forward. In the squad room, Turner gives Dante warrants to summon evidence from camps along Willow's route that night. She asks if he's going to be okay getting on the stand and testifying against his former sister-in-law at her place. Alexis shows Willow the footage of her driving on Drew's street the night he was shot. Drew shows up and learns about the new video evidence. Willow swears it wasn't her, that she didn't shoot him, she just drove by his place. Drew believes her, but Alexis warns them that this lie will make things a lot more difficult once they go to trial. Finally, above Bobby's, Jason tells Britt he's never judged her. He's only wanted to help her, and he's not about to turn his back on her. He asks her to let him help her. She ends pulling him into a kiss, and then tells him, not a chance.